Hello, NAAIA community. Get ready to relive insightful discussions, gain fresh perspectives, and be inspired by the wealth of knowledge our community has to offer. Let's dive into another episode.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a meaningful Tuesday thus far. Thank you for joining us. My name is Akili Smith, and I serve as the Leadership Program Manager here at NAAIA. We are delighted to welcome you today to our November installment of our Agent Roundtable series titled Stacked for Success, Agency Tech Essentials. We are thrilled to have you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. As a reminder, we are hosting today's session via Zoom Events, which is a webinar platform. You have been added as a participant, meaning that your camera and microphone are not active. However, we encourage you to engage with us in the chat. Please take a moment to drop in the chat where you're joining us from today. We'd love to hear from you. Throughout today's webinar, feel free to use the chat box to interact with fellow participants. However, if you have any particular questions for our panelists, we kindly ask that you submit them in the Q&A box to help us keep the discussion organized. Now, if you experience any technical difficulties, please use the chat function and select Host and Panelists Only. Our team will do our best to assist you. If your issue is related to internet connectivity, we recommend rejoining the session to continue accessing today's valuable content. Please note that this session is being recorded and will be available for viewing at a later date. Once again, to recap, please be sure to engage with us in the chat. Please submit questions directly in the Q&A section, and please direct any technical concerns to host and panelists only. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ashley White, our NAAIA National Chief of Staff, for our program overview and moderator introduction.
Akili, thank you so much for that warm welcome and also housekeeping for everyone today. Good afternoon, NAAIA. My name is Ashley White, and I'm the Chief of Staff as well as the leader of our national programs team. And as we gather today, it is a bittersweet moment. This is our final program of the year for our members at large. It has been an incredible journey, and we're excited to close with such a truly essential topic. We're going to talk about technology today, and as we know, it's just not a headline word. It is one of the engines to driving business and our outcomes in our industry. And so we've spent time this year learning new skills, but today we're going to shift that focus specifically to you and the agents, and we're going to define essential tools and strategies that you may need for your personal success in this evolving landscape. Today, our session, Stack for Success, Agency Tech Essentials, is our chance to take an honest and in-depth look at current technology. You can't really afford to work without technology at this point. And so we want to make sure that you have what you need to not miss early red flags or hinder effective communication. Is really the perfect time to really assess your ecosystem with the renewed integrity and empathy for our work. So let's get into what we'll cover today. We'll talk about assessing your tools. So how can we explore the customer journey maps? How can you select the best technology for your customer and your business? We'll talk about adopting new technology, where we'll highlight what's hot, maybe what's coming next. We'll focus on an impact assessment so you can secure sort of buy-in and adoption, whether you are a decision maker or others. We'll also talk about justifying the investment. And so benchmarking, return on investments, as we know, that's very important to sort of getting things across the line when you're looking to drive innovation, for example. So by the end of this session, we hope that we leave you with more than just, a great conversation, but we leave you with lessons and immediate items that you could leverage to start a critical conversation and conduct an assessment of your current tools. So our conversation today will be moderated by Rod Powell. He's an agency owner at Encore Insurance Group and a NAAIA National Board member. Rod, if you can please join me on the stage. I wanted to
To
take
take
this moment to personally thank you for your incredible leadership, guidance, and expertise. Considering this is one of the last moments we'll see you on the NAAIA stage this year, but your voice has always been a welcome voice of reason and also a necessary push when needed on our board, and especially for the agent body of our membership. Bringing your expertise, I know that I leave this vital conversation in capable hands. And with that, the floor is yours. We'll bring your panelists up as well.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Ashley, and would be remiss if I didn't return the same gratitude to you. Thank you for everything that you've been doing throughout your time at NAAIA thus far, and looking forward to a productive and powerful 2026. Speaking of setting up that 2026 and making it productive and powerful, today we're going to be talking about how to be stacked for success on this agent roundtable. And we have two individuals who are highly esteemed in the industry and also practitioners of technology in this business as well, utilizing it to grow their businesses. So I do want to, just take a moment and allow them to introduce themselves. And Renado Robinson of Crosswinds Agency, I'll start with you, and then Rojon Garrett of Garrett Thompson Insurance Advisors will come over to you as well. So Renado, over to you first.
Hey, well, thanks a lot, Rob. It was good to see you virtually. So again, I'm Renado Robinson, owner of Crosswinds Insurance Agency, the bedroom community of the Charlotte, North Carolina area. In business 10 years now. The experience goes back 28 years overall with insurance.
Excellent, excellent. And Rojon, over to you, sir.
Yes, my name is Rojon Garrett, owner and operator of Garrett Thompson Insurance Advisors. I've been in the insurance industry for about 15 years out of Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, love it. Thank you very much for sharing those introductions. And the chat is open. I see folks from all around. Thank you for sharing your cities. And if we have questions, we'll make sure that we have a little time for that as well. We're talking about technology today. We're talking about the tech stack, stacked for success. I guess I want to start with a question that if there are new agency owners out there, and I know that we have a variety, or individuals who are even thinking about starting an agency, when you think about technology, what impact does that have on your agency overall? And then I want to start with, kind of where would you start with this? So Rojon, I'll start with you. Kind of what impact does technology have on how you run your agency today?
I think technology, one of the main things that it does for your agency is give you efficiency across the board with customer experience and interagency experience. So using technology is one of the groundbreaking things and efficient ways of just making sure the client experience is seamless. So that's pretty much how it helps us.
So client experience, has been enhanced, by utilizing some of these tools out there, it sounds like as well. Renado, same question for you. How impactful, I know a little bit about your shop. How impactful is having the right technology in place for your agency on a day-to-day basis?
It is very impactful. It has helped us tremendously. With running an agency, there's always expenses that comes into play. And, the main goal is to have more profit at the end of the day versus expenses. And so one thing with us utilizing technology helps us to keep the expenses low. It even goes into making sure that, you know, using the automations, it could do the work of four people into one. And so just making sure that that's being an impact on our business.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. So protecting the bottom line, ensuring business efficiency, service, all of these are very important in making sure that not only does the business operate smoothly, but it provides a positive client experience as well. Let me ask you a question. If you were starting an agency today, and we'll get into some of the pieces that you are using right now, what are three pieces of technology that you would implement immediately? So, hey, you're starting from scratch. What are the three tools you would start with, and why? Renado, I'll turn to you first.
All right. So with us, having a robust agency management system that suits all your needs, not only for now, but for the future. That is key, as well as having a phone system. Not only having a phone system, but making sure that phone system is tech focused, that has an AI tool built in that could help you scale. Last but not least is having a great email system in place that helps keep up with that.
Love it. So, and after Rojon answers this question, then we're going to start getting into some of the names of these systems that you all are utilizing right now as well. Rojon, same question for you, man. If you're building from scratch today, what are the three pieces that you're going to get started with?
I would definitely say, especially on the independent side, having a solid agency management system, as Renado said, but also having a quoting system, a quoter that actually matches your markets appropriately, and having a customer relationship management system, a CRM, that specifically has automation for marketing, renewal process, things of that nature.
Love it. So I heard AMS, the agency management system, first off. What systems are you guys using right now, and what made you, decide on that system? Rajan, I'm gonna take it back to you.
Okay. For us, we use the EasyLink system, the full suite of EasyLinks, essentially because the AMS system is connected pretty much with their form of CRM called their automation center, and it connects with their rater. So I pretty much have everything in one system. So it's seamless from prospect all the way to client, from renewal, repeat. So it's all connected together.
Let,
So
let's keep Yeah, let's keep going with that because you mentioned Easy Links as the AMS, but I know in your agency, you guys are doing a fair amount of personal lines, correct?
mhm,
So
correct.
on that personal line side, that quoting aspect is also very important, and you're using the rater as well.
Correct.
Was your reasoning in using Easy Links was to just kind of streamline those processes, have both of them connected?
Correct. So one of the main things with technology is connecting AMS with CRM, but also CRM with AMS. And in between those two is where the rater pretty much made our decision because we're literally able to bring in a prospect, rate them, quote them, send them as either a prospect or a lead going out or a client. And then when they become a client in our agency, our servicing side, we're able to requote using that same rater. You get what I'm saying? We're able to requote. And then from there, we can just repeat at the renewal part. So we like everything just being one because
Yeah.
I've experienced having different systems from different vendors, and they're really not talking to each other. You may have an AMS that talks to a CRM, but you may not have a CRM that could, get that information back into the agency management system when the renewal process comes along.
Great answer there. I don't want to assume, anyone who is in attendance, knowledge or experience with these things. Explain, to our attendees here, kind of what is the rater doing for you? What does that rater actually do? What's the capabilities of that?
Essentially, the rater, when you bring in information for auto in your home, characteristics of a vehicle, characteristics of your home, the rater literally will produce a rate. And from on the independent side, your carriers will insert information inside of the rater that will pretty much determine their appetite. And so, with their appetite and the characteristics of that risk, as far as automobile or home, it produces a rate, and you literally have a rate sheet that you can, you know, uh, send to your client.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And it's allowing you to look at multiple carriers simultaneously
Multiple carriers at one time.
to
Yeah,
do a comparison, and then you can determine, hey, this is going to be the best fit based on this scenario, for that client.
right.
And once you have determined that this is the best fit, you share that with the client. That business can be written. It populates into the AMS. All of the information, policy documents are sitting there. The reminders are coming up when it's time for the renewals. And hey, now it's time to requote back in the rating system. The CRM houses, all of their demographic information, the SIC codes, any notes from the communications,
Exactly.
birthday, anniversary, send them a gift, all of that stuff. And you have one system within the Easy Links platform that's bridging all that together.
Exactly. Exactly. So, like one of the great features is when it's renewal time, you literally can hit like two buttons and you will get not only the renewal rate, but the renewal reason. So, or if there's a rate increase or a rate decrease, you'll have that reason in front of you as well. So that helps when it comes to communicating to your client uh, about their rate, if there's an increase or a decrease. So all of this in one system, it makes it pretty simple.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Renado, what AMS system are you using in Crosswinds right now?
Sure. So here we use a system called HawkSoft. HawkSoft, it allows a lot of our other automations to plug into their system for use. So earlier, I didn't mention our CMS is called Agency Zoom, which HawkSoft ties into that. We chose HawkSoft. We had another system when we first started, but we went with HawkSoft because of a couple of things. They're very innovative in their processes. They are open to suggestions when it comes to plugins. But it also does, we're a heavy commercial lines focused agency. And so some of the policies that we write, they're not always plain vanilla, and we have to build a policy within our AMS. And HawkSoft gives us the capability to do that. But for the plain vanilla type policies that comes from downloads from our carriers, we could set up like automations when it comes to renewals with a certain percentage. If it increases a certain percentage, our CSRs and account executives automatically get an email so they'll know to shop that policy out. Um, it also helps when it comes to certificates, for contractors or any other companies
Mhm.
that requires those. When it comes to renewal, all we have to do is press a button. And when that policy is renewed, it automatically creates those COIs. So, it saves time on our processors ends from doing that.
Yeah,
They also gives us the capability to do a lot of templates. I'm a big believer in time is money, and I don't like wasting either of them, but also efficiency. And so HawkSoft gives us that capability to where if we see someone sending the same email out all the time, we can create a template for that. And all they have to do is select that template and it automatically plugs the customer's name and email address in. So they're not recreating the wheel every time.
love it, love it. When you're talking about, generating those COIs, you mean the certificates of insurance for, contractors that might need to add an additional insured. And I, for individuals who are running agencies that are listening in, uh, you will understand, what kind of time that can require if you don't have a process for that. For those who are not on the agent or agency side and kind of contemplating that, the COI request, the certificate of insurance request can be time consuming. So I love that you highlighted that this is a use case of how that technology is being beneficial in creating efficiency for you. It sounds like it really is about the need, right? It's about, hey, if you're looking at, the personal lines focus, then obviously that rater and that quoter is going to be paramount. And having the integration between the rater quoter system and the agency management system or AMS is going to be key. And if you can put a bow on it and have your customer relationship management system tied in, all well and good. If you're going to be going more commercial, then you may need to be a little bit more robust in how you are approaching that as well. I do know that HawkSoft does have a lot of integrations. It gives
Mhm.
you a lot of flexibility, particularly on that commercial side. Let's talk about Agency Zoom because you did mention Agency Zoom. How does the Agency Zoom um, CRM system work alongside that HawkSoft system? What is the exchange of data between those two systems? And even if you could share a little bit more about what Agency Zoom does for you.
Sure, absolutely. So Agency Zoom is a CRM, like you mentioned, that was built by agents for agents. I think it started off as a captive CRM system, and they quickly realized they could roll that out to independent agencies. independent insurance agencies that's using it. And so Agency Zoom, in my opinion, works very good hand in hand with HawkSoft when it comes to the plugins. So for us here at Crosswinds Insurance Agency, we utilize it for new business renewals, and I'll break them down into two, if you will. So when it comes to new business, if a customer, we plug it in as a prospect. There's automations within those bucket categories. It goes from new to contacted to quoted to bound, and each time we move it from one category to the next, there's a set of automations that goes out to that customer just to keep them engaged. Kind of like if anyone was to reach out to a car dealership and they get your information, they're going to drip campaign you. Same thing with Agency Zoom. So it helps in that instance. When a policy is issued for us, we automatically send the customer the welcome packet that shows that tells them thanks a lot for your business. It lets them know who their points of contact are. It tells them our hours of operation. It's endless. The possibilities are endless what we do with Agency Zoom. When it comes to, and also with that, once they're onboarded, we drip campaign them every 30 days just to stay relevant and just to give them an update of how they can get in touch with us if they need anything. We use it for birthdays, emails, and text. We use it for, updating agency office closures for holidays and things of that nature. When it comes to renewals, probably a few months before renewal time, it sends that customer an automated email and it just says, hey, it's time for your renewal. And it asks all the questions that the insurance companies require us to ask. That way, we're capturing that customer and getting all the changes that's necessary. Um, there's also a service center functionality of it to where we can maintain renewals. So yeah, Agency Zoom is a huge asset for us as well.
Yeah, yeah. So keeping those touch points consistent, keeping the communication consistent, because we all know if we're not answering the phone or if we're not staying close to the client, somebody else is in there as well. I saw someone else mention, AMS 360, which is essentially owned by the same company that owns Agency Zoom as well. So there's a variety of these agency management systems that are available, and based on what you're using for yourself or the type of business that you're doing or the way that you want to do business, that's how you're really going to determine what makes sense in your firm. One of the other things you mentioned, Renato, was the phone system. I do want to talk about that because look, picking up that phone, that translates to revenue, right? So what phone system are you currently using, and how did you determine that, yeah, I need to get a phone system in the first place?
Absolutely. So one thing when we first started, so when I started agency, I always knew it was going to be paperless, less walk-in traffic. But I wanted a phone system that gave me an app that we could use for making phone calls. We could be wherever. If it wasn't an app, at least be able to forward it. We went through a phone system before, but now we utilize Ring Central. Ring Central, in our opinion, is one of the good ones out there that people can transfer that Ring Central. They can have that on their phone as an app. If they call out on it, it comes from their work phone number as opposed to their personal. And if someone leaves a message, it goes directly to their business voicemail versus work. Ring Central also has AI capabilities, so it records phone calls, which is very important for making sure, for compliance. It tells people that we're recording phone calls. That way, we're staying in compliance. Um, it also, at the end of the phone call, it paraphrases the notes. So we use it as a belt and suspender system to where if we make a phone call, it summarizes the call. We record the phone recording. That's all saved into HawkSoft. We can text from that system as well, which is a good functionality. But here recently, I started utilizing Ring Central more for using it with AI. So what I found in our agency was, even though we get a good bit of calls, there were some people that for some reason may have not gotten all the way through, or they would call after hours and they didn't leave a voice message. So we use Ring Central now to where it is there's the AI questions in there And when someone calls, we pretty much prompt them to where they need to go. So a good example is, thanks for calling Crosswinds Insurance Agency. Are you looking to get a quote? You're looking for service, pay a bill. And whatever that person says, there's question and answers that we built behind the scenes, and it will transfer that person to the correct department, saving time and money. But not only does it transfer that person on the caller ID box, it actually says what that person is calling in for. So someone on my end knows, oh, they're calling to get an auto ID card, or they're calling to get a certificate of insurance or verifying mortgage. That cuts down time tremendously.
Got you. Got you. There was a question that was asked in regards to switching systems. Um, as far as switching system, you say you had another system before you switched over to HawkSoft. What was that process like? Was it easy? Was it expensive? What did you look for?
So I switched early on, probably within 2 years of being in business, in which, even though we had a good bit, the biggest thing it is a super easy process if your data and everything is in place. One thing you have to watch out for with the AMS companies is making sure the data they have gets transferred over to the new AMS platform, and making sure that that data is transferred over correctly. Um, I've always believed in having a backup plan in place. And so when we started, we were using Dropbox as our system where we kept applications and everything. So whenever we made that transition over to HawkSoft, we pretty much just compared it to what we had from the other system over to HawkSoft and just made sure everything was fine.
Got it. Got it. All right. So that was from Tony Wright, man. Thank you for the question. Going on, from to our next topic in Ring Central. Thank you for that recommendation. I'll say that these phone systems can vary, in their costs. So if you're just starting out, maybe you starting with a Google Voice, maybe using something like a Grasshopper. Rojon, did you have another phone system that you're utilizing? Are you using Ring Central? What's your solution to make sure that those calls are handled in the best way possible?
Well, when we started, we actually was using Vonage because Vonage had a great integration with Easy Links, but we actually switched to Ring Central like 2 years ago. And literally, I feel like Renado has been hanging out with me because everything he said is the reason why we switched. The integration with Ring Central is just phenomenal. We can literally use it from even from an iPad. You can use it from an iPad, from your phone, from your browser. It has Chrome extensions that you can use. So while you're browsing around on your desktop, if you come across a client's phone number, you can literally call them from your mouse. So you really don't even have to pick up the phone. So Ring Central, to me, is probably one of the top recommendations for phone systems.
I
Um,
love that. Love that. AI has been mentioned a few times. I do want to come back to that. But as mentioning, the cost, technology has a cost attached to it. How do you measure the ROI on those technology investments in your agency?
Literally, if the way we look at it, if it's really replacing someone, be it a VA or a producer or a CSR, if it's able to replace their workload and you see efficiency happening, it's worth it. Versus, if it's a technology that's just shiny, it's a shiny object, and if you're really not seeing any efficiency, you're working more on the technology than you were if you actually take part in that process itself. At
Mhm.
that point, it really doesn't make sense to have that technology. So just looking at it from an efficiency standpoint, that's the main thing.
Got you. Okay. Okay. How about you, Renato? How are you assessing, what your return of investment is going to be on these technology investments that you have?
Sure, I echo Rajan. We look at how long it takes to perform a task, and we then multiply that times 5 tasks within a day,
Right.
and then prioritize it. And so if we utilize AI, and AI cuts that down to, let's say, 30 minutes when it normally would take someone, 5 hours, then in our opinion, that's a win. That's 4.5 hours that we're getting back for that person to go out and do more complex things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So these initial pieces of technology. I asked about, hey, what are the top three that we need if we're going to be launching an agency? I do want to shift and go into, and Renado, I hear you with the AI, man. We're gonna talk about this AI piece because
That's key.
it's becoming more prevalent. But we're talking about, kind of stacking that technology, right? So we got the baseline. We have our agency management system. We've talked about HawkSoft. We've talked about Easy Links. There was a mention of AMS 360 that's out there. There are other systems that are available as well. We talked about the quoting system. We have Easy Links, is really powerful on the personal line side. There's a system called Tarmika out there that can be utilized for commercial lines quoting. In some cases, we talked about the phone system. It sounds like Ring Central is overwhelmingly popular on this call, but there are other solutions that are out there as well. And we talked about the CRMs like the Agency Zoom or even the Easy Links that can help you to create touch points and continue the communication with your clients. Let's talk about the next stage of that tech stack. So now we're improving efficiency with lead generation, with our systems and operational processes. What are some tools that you find yourself or have found yourself utilizing that have improved just the overall efficiency of you growing your business versus just running it? Rojon, I'll turn over to you first.
I would say one of the main technologies, and it's very popular, is Zapier, to be quite honest. I'm able to use Zapier and I'm able to connect multiple apps to that technology, be it Google Sheets, Easy Links. I'm able to pretty much be super creative. Something that Zapier has now that's extremely important that I want agents to pay attention to is two things. Well, really, yes, two things. It's Copilot, which for Zapier now you're able to just talk to it naturally to connect your apps together versus, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, you literally would have to formulate and like create those connections yourself. Now, if, I log on, I say, hey, I want Easy Links updated every time my client has a claim. It could literally create a Zap to do that and put that information on a Google Sheet if I want, or put that information to whatever 8,000 apps that it's connected to. So that's one of the main technologies that I would say is extremely important with improving efficiency.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And Renato, anything to add to that as far as those initial kind of next level tech stacks?
Sure. So in addition to Zapier, we also use a system called Cognito Forms. Cognito Forms houses all of our online applications. And so Cognito Forms, along with Zapier and Agency Zoom, works hand in hand. So a process would be if someone wants a home or auto quote, they would go on our website. That app was built by Cognito Forms. Cognito Forms, once that app is submitted, Zapier sends it over to our agency, our CMS system, Agency Zoom, and puts it in as a new lead. The account executive gets an email that they have a new lead. Cognito Forms keeps those applications where we could go back and always look at them. And then, Cognito Forms, Zapier, and then our AMS system, that information is uploaded to our AMS system, and then it can be bridged over to our PO rater to give a quote. So
Gotcha.
that those systems, it works hand in hand to where we're not having to uh, create applications every time. Everything is online, it's stored, all of the questions are there, and then you could just copy and paste, going into the PO rater and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And can I say one? Can I say one?
Yeah, please. Absolutely.
And it's a technology, and I tell people, with some of these technologies, you see marketing going on as well. So one company that I want people to watch for is the company Go High Level, and they have a CRM systems that's essentially promoted to a lot of insurance agents and agencies. And honestly, it has a lot of tools in that one system that if an agency, if you're starting out, you can do a lot with that one CRM for the simple fact that it has the marketing, has the funnels, it has the forms, um, it has the websites. If you want to create blogs, if you want to create funnel with lead generation, you can do a lot with that one company. Um, it's white labeled for different brands, but I'm just telling that's one company you can watch out for as well. And it can you can literally get a lot out of that one technology as far as everything we're talking about, even phone systems. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And Go High Level, is that connected with Pipeline Pro?
it literally Go High Level may be the Pipeline Pro may be the white level of Go High Level.
White
Go
label
High
of
Level is the
because I know
yeah,
Go High Level kind of support, like you said, they support.
yeah, High Level is probably like 4,000 brands literally
Yeah.
with the same platform. So that's why I say you have to do your due diligence in who you're gonna, latch onto, but that technology can do a lot for an insurance agency.
I'm glad you said that, Rojon, because though that Go High Level system, that also could be a cost friendly, you know.
Yes, and that's the reason why I brought it up. For someone that's new,
Hmm.
you can get a Go High Level membership for like, and I'm not going to say this is definitely the price, but I've seen the price for as little as $50 a month,
Yeah,
versus some systems will run you $300 a month,
absolutely.
4,000, so it's a cost-effective way for an agent to get into the tech space, create marketing, um, create funnels, create websites, create all of the automations that you need to be successful with that one system. So,
Love it, love it. With our industry, as regulated as it is, we're dealing with a lot of sensitive information as well. When
right.
we're utilizing these integrations, the Zapier, the Cognito forms, how are you securing, this data and ensuring that the information that's being transferred between systems is going to be protected for your clients and for your business as well? Renado, I'll turn it to you first.
Sure. So with us, any system we utilize, security is it's always of utmost concern. And so with Cognito forms, all of the information that's put in, while it is sensitive, it is safeguarded 100%. We make sure any system, not only Cognito forms, but any system we use, they have adequate controls in place, multi-factor authentication. I think I'm saying that right, as well
Mhm.
as, just making sure it's secure for our customers. Because the last thing we ever want is for someone's information to get hacked and, it comes back on us. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Rajan, how you addressing that in your agency?
Literally the same way. One thing we do when we're dealing with leads, prospects, and clients, as far as demographic information, we literally only use first name, last name when it's going through automations. We don't even use birth dates, for instance, when we're sending out automations, things of that nature. But again, it's the same as Renado, multifaceted authentication. We use that across the board. So.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. And I know with most of the systems, especially the ones that have been named, they already have, some security functions that are noted, with those companies on those sites. Let's talk about like accessing information before we transition into the next part, which is really going to lock in on how AI is influencing us and how we're driving this technology. Accessing information is in an agency space or as an agent is not always the easiest thing to do. You are taking in those forms. If they fill out everything on Cognito forms, then hey, you got it there. What aspects of technology, or are there any software programs that you're using to make sure that you're accessing information, like policy docs, for example? And so you say, hey, give me your deck page, and they give you the deck page from 3 years ago instead of giving you the recent one. How are you accessing, that current information in the technology space?
Okay, and I can say as far as document access, we've used two. We started with technology called InsureGrid, where a client would, once we quote them or ask for their quote to verify their current policies in force, they will be able to sign in to their carrier and literally send us their documents through InsureGrid. So that was the first one we're using. Then we switched to Canopy Connect, which literally does the same thing, except it's a little cheaper. So that's literally how we got access to documents, and we were able to confirm everything. So it's one of the best technologies, I say, that we saw, because instead of people giving us information, or giving us policy or coverage information they thought they have, that's a way for us to verify it. So when we're doing quotes, we're actually quoting apples to apples versus guessing. And so I would say Canopy Connect and AssureGrid are solid solutions for that.
Canopy Connect definitely is a powerful one. I'm glad that you mentioned them because they'll give you the driver's license number,
Yeah.
birth date, the deck pages. They'll give you all
And I found out Canopy Connect will actually give you life insurance documents as well.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, they'll give you life insurance documents as well. So you're able to create an insurance portfolio review type of presentation for your clients. So that's always great.
Absolutely, absolutely. How about you, Renado? Are you using Canopy Connect? Are you using other technology to receive or retrieve information and data on the client?
Yep. So Cognito Forms, within the application, we built in questions for them to upload their current documents into the system. So when it comes over in an application form, it has the application on PDF as well as copies of their policies on PDF. Outside of that, we do two things, and it really is a marketing. The way we market is we have the account executive reach out if they do not upload that information and just ask them for a copy of it and let them know, one thing we do is look at apples to apples and see if there's anything we can recommend or, point out to them. So that's one aspect, but there's also other companies like when it comes to mortgages where you can go log into a system and if they've given you their loan number and their the name of their mortgage company, you can log in and obtain a copy of that policy. And we've used that from time to time as well. We actually have to use that when we need to verify mortgage insurance for customers. And so it works both ways. We verify it, but then we also could go in and pull it out.
Got you. Got you. Love it. Love it. I'll add a couple of other pieces of software that we have either used or currently use that can add for some of that document retrieval as well. Meet Leo for anyone who is not only looking for potentially some lead generation, but also retrieving 990 forms for nonprofit organizations or DOT reports for commercial transportation. Judy Diamond is also a good one. If you're in the benefit space, you can get 5,500 forms on Judy Diamond. And Zywave, which has a feature called My Edge that also will give you much of the commercial data on businesses, even down to who the current broker is, the X date, how much they're paying in premium, sometimes how much commission the current broker is earning. There's a lot of information on those services as well. Just throwing those into the pot. Another question for you here. And as a reminder, those who are on the webinar, please, submit your questions if you have questions as well. I have a ton. I know I'm not going to get through all my questions, but if you have questions, I will defer, some of the ones that I have, and we'll go to yours. So please, feel free to chat away, so we can, hear your voice as well. AI. Let's move on to this AI piece of this conversation. Now, with these integrations, you're setting them up. It definitely sounds like there's a ton of automation that's already in play. As a leader of the agency running your business, how is AI, along with that technology, starting to influence not only your leadership style in your business, but how you're integrating, new producers, new folks who are coming into the business to be kind of caught up to speed or introduced or integrated with how you want that to work in your firm as well. So what role is AI playing in how you're continuing to drive your agency forward? Rojon, I'll turn it over to you first.
I would say AI is doing is doing a lot now. As far as implementing for my team, I think the way you implement technology, one of the best ways is just one piece, one process at a time. When you look at your key performance indicators as an agency owner, You have to pay attention to your system from beginning to end. And when you implement AI, you have to make sure that it's improving things, improving processes. So AI as a whole, as far as like just using, say for instance, Chat GPT or Claude as large language models that can, produce content, for instance, where um, in an agency, we would use that for email response. Some of that technology is actually already built inside of our systems. For instance, with EasyLinks has a system called EVA, EVA, which EVA literally is trained in insurance lingo. So instead of someone sitting there trying to respond to the normal emails that you will receive throughout the day, Eva can give you suggested responses. So you don't have to waste your time with that. So it's a great way, great technology that we're utilizing now. AI now it's so much. It grows every second. So there's AI situations going on now, like AI agent mode that can actually log on to a browser and do process and complete processes. That's one of the newest things that's happening now. So as far as team, now a team could be more efficient doing other things if AI is able to complete safe processes that you all can replace. So
Yeah. So it can even take on the responsibilities of some of the individuals in the office.
exactly.
Then they can focus their time on, other things that might be even revenue producing. I see the questions are starting to, kind of flood in just a little bit here. So I'm gonna jump into these questions while we have time. Uh, Renado, I do want to give you the space to talk about the AI too, because you mentioned it 4 times. I know it's a big thing for you. Tell me a little bit about this AI from your perspective, and then I want to hop into a few of these questions that we have inside of the chat and the question Q&A room. And there's
Sure.
a Q&A room for questions too. You don't have to put them in the chat. It actually might work better to put them in the Q&A. That way I'll see them all together. But I'm easy to work with. So I can go back and forth if y'all need me to. But if you see my eyes doing like this, I'm looking at Q&A and looking at the chat. Renato, go with you, brother.
Gotcha. So with us, AI is huge, and I'll talk on one platform we currently use specifically is ChatGPT. When I first started, I was like, man, if I can have 3 or 4 Renatos running around doing the same thing I'm doing, I would be great. Well, ChatGPT lets me do that. I've trained it to where it thinks like me. It does my marketing when it comes to social media posts. I can put one item in, one word, and it spits out 20 posts for the entire 30 days, which is great, as opposed to having to go back and figure it out. It pretty much has done stuff that helps me along the way. I also created a chat GPT called Crosswinds Chat GPT or Crosswinds GPT to where not only do we use Microsoft SharePoint as a depository for all of our the product knowledge within Crosswinds and how-tos, now it's powered by Crosswinds GPT to where someone can pretty much put in a question of, well, what's this sales rep's extension here? And it spits it out within 2 seconds. We use it for that. Even when it comes to um, going and doing policy form comparisons. Now, we have to be careful when we do that. We always take the person's information out to protect them, but then we can go in and put an entire policy and say, compare these two policies together, and it spits it out. Obviously behind the scenes, we have to go back and make sure that information is correct, but having someone, that can do that within 30 to 30 seconds to a minute versus taking, 4 or 5 hours, that saves time. And there again, time is money to us, and if we can cut down on how much expenses and time we're using, it's definitely a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of taking on some of those CRM functions as well. Uh, uh, Two questions that are kind of related that I want to tie into. The first being, what do you use to schedule your calls and appointments? So we know, hey, you click on the website, you could generate a quote. But as far as calendars, getting things set up to actually communicate with you, one of your producers, what's your preferred methodology in that regard? Rojon, over to you first.
We use the classic Calendly. That's what we use right now. That's what we've been using. It works. It integrates integrates well with Google Calendar as well, and our CRM, Easy Links. So that's what we use.
Excellent. And Renado, what are you using for your calendar setup?
The same Calendly.
Love it, love it. Um, Another question here. Thank you, Tony. Once again, I appreciate you. Uh, Out of all of the investments that you've used, actually, before we go to that, let me go to another question real quick. On the calls, another question on these calls. Are any of the phone systems that you're utilizing allowing you to translate into other languages in real time? So that person speaking to you in Spanish, the phone system is translating so that there's a relay back to you in English. And if you aren't, do you know of any systems that are doing that currently? Either of
I,
you can jump in on that one.
I may have seen something like that on Ring Central the other day when I was building out the AI platforms. But it's not something that we thought to put in place. Just because we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have another language speaking person within the agency. It would be easy if we did that, but since we don't want to mislead someone, so we don't use it.
Got you. Got you. Anything like that, Rojon?
What 100% agree exactly what he said. We haven't had a chance to utilize it. I think that feature is there for translation, but I think there's such a delay that the natural, cadence of a conversation will just be weird. So we've never tried to use it, and we usually transfer. We have some other producers that we'll send those referrals off to who speak another language. So we haven't had a chance to use it.
It may have the technology, but just
Yeah,
because
it may have it, but
doesn't mean you should use it, because at some point, when it's time to service, it could be some disconnect
yeah.
in communication or understanding,
Well,
right?
and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You expose yourself for E&O claims when you start.
Right. That's that's what we don't want. That's what we don't want. Yusef Burgess had another question as well in regards to the commercial space, and I think the agency management system will address this. Is there any software that helps you benchmark your insured's premiums? In addition to HawkSoft or EasyLinks, any other technology that's helping you with benchmarking premiums?
I need to know a little bit more about that question before I can answer it. If I'm reading that correctly, benchmarking a premium, we have insureds that look pretty much the same on paper, but their premiums could be vastly different. And so um, we get this question all the time with a good bit of customers that's in the same industry. They will say, well, XYZ is paying this much, and I've been in business longer than them. Why is my premium not the same? And our go-to answer is always, there's different metrics in place without looking at their policy and knowing we can't speak truthfully on it. So we always tell them we just defer, but no policies from what we've seen is the same.
Got you. Got you. Are you seeing anything like that, Rojan?
No, not right now. No.
Okay. Okay. So there is one more question. Carlos and Reina, is it possible to set up training sessions for new agency owners? Hey, listen, send that as a suggestion to NAAIA. We always listen to the members and want to make sure that we create the most value possible. I do want to just take a moment to say thank you, Renado. Thank you, Rojan, for your time and expertise today and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Any last takeaways, for those who are listening, whether they're new, existing, transitioning, et cetera, as it relates to technology and the importance of it inside of your firm? Rojon, I'll turn it over to you first.
I would say the main thing I would tell any agency owner is just take it one technology at a time. And again, pay attention to your KPIs, your key performance indicators. And if you're able to replace some of those with one technology, just start with one technology at a time. If there's one tech that I would say pay attention to, it's definitely Zapier, because it can do so much in connecting your systems together. And literally, if you just dive in and just be creative, you literally can start improving your processes.
Thank you. Thank you. Renado, hey, over to you.
I'm going to echo what Rojon said. When it comes to, there's a lot of shiny objects out there, shiny systems to where everyone's is clamoring for your dollars. Just make sure that your expenses line up with what your goals of the agency is. But also always look 5 years ahead and not towards the now.
Right.
Get an idea of how you want your agency to look and how it's going to look in those 5 years and what steps you need to get it there. Because what might work for you now might not work for you down the road. And there's some systems out there you have to read that hidden print. Once you're in there, once you're a customer of theirs, they own your information. And some of them make it very hard for you to get your information out when you're ready to leave. So, always looking at the fine print, always looking at, what your goals are, 5 year, your 5 year plan pretty much.
Yeah, we need 30 more minutes about data. We need 30 more minutes just talking.
Yeah.
That's very
Absolutely.
important.
Listen,
Yeah.
if you get that,
That's very important.
if we get that new agency, training program inside of NAAIA set up with some of our partners, then hey, we can bring all that together. Hey, I just want to, before we close out here, I want to say thank you for all the questions. All the questions, you'll start bombarding the questions at the end. Like as soon as we got like 5 minutes left, then like a whole bunch of questions coming through. But a shout out, to you brothers. Thank you for the time. Thank you for everyone in attendance. See some folks that I know, my sister Nicole, my sister Gozi. Hey, sending love. Tony, appreciate you. Yusef, appreciate the questions. Carlos and Rena, appreciate the questions as well. I want to say thank you to everyone who has attended. And I want to say just thank you to the NAAIA community. This is our last Agent Roundtable of the year. And it has been an amazing experience and opportunity to, just serve on this call with these two gentlemen. And Ashley, I want to take a moment since you're back on the line to say thank you again for your leadership and service in this organization. And as we close out, I'll turn it back to you, my friend, to take us home. Thank you very much.
Rod, thank you so much, panel, as well as you pop down back to the backstage. We are so very grateful. Though the questions came in hot and heavy at the end, you all did a wonderful job giving all the explanation, explaining the acronyms, talking about the importance of your tech stack, whether it be CRMs to even your marketing abilities.
Thank you for watching this flashback episode of NAAIA. We appreciate your time and hope you found the insights valuable. Stay tuned for more enriching content. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the NAAIA community.